What's going on, friends? James Nguyen here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. I hope I did everything right. I always feel a little rushed, and I just pulled the microphone over. I was like, what in the world? You'd think I'd be used to this? Every week I do this. But I'm glad that you're joining me. Thank you, guys. I did not promote this very well today. I did not promote it actually at all. So, what's going on? Oh yeah, you're not here. You're not here. I don't know if you're here or not. Reverend Saber grabbed today's sketch already. My man was all over it. He saw that I posted it on the Etsy store, and he snatched it up. And it's a good one. It's a good one because I already did the pencils on it, and I'm excited to ink this up for you live. So what we do here every week is we draw. We ink. Sometimes we color. We do it so that you get a little taste of what it takes to create, and then do a little bit of independent comic stuff. And then we talk about comic books. We talk about what I read. You're welcome to talk about what you read, and it'll be all good. Hang on, I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna just check and see on the phone whether I can see myself. If you would indulge me, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm gonna jump over to the app, because you can only do things on the app sometimes, and you cannot do them elsewhere. So bear with me, guys. And yes, all right. This looks good, as Bill Mouse would say. It is good. What's going on, whoever's out there? I appreciate it. I'm gonna take you right to the drawing board. Let's do it, guys. Tell me if there's any. Whoops. Shh. I gotta turn this down. Tell me if you have any problems hearing me, or if the music's too loud. Feel free to tell me what's going wrong. So if you would indulge me here a second, as I forgot to take a picture of this bad girl. The pencil version. What's going on, Rod? Okay. Mr. Rod is in the house. Is Mr. Apprentice with you? All right. Sounds good. Awesome. I hope you guys are doing well. Had a great weekend. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Let me pull this over a little bit closer. I want to jump right in because I do want to get it done in this amount of time. All right, we'll start with we're going to start with the Pigma Micron, the 01, because we'll keep it small, because I'll jump right into the eyes, the face. You want to get that right first. So especially because the owner of the sketch is watching, there's a little bit more pressure, but it's not our first rodeo, so hopefully the pressure is minor. And Rod gives me a lot of grace. So is it for you, Rod, or is it for the Apprentice? Is the G.I. Joe for you, and the Transformer stuff for the Apprentice, or just whatever floats your fancy, whether it be you or Mr. Apprentice? So I read a couple of good comics this week. So Transformers came in. Transformers number 15, I want to say. Was it 15? I got the A cover. I believe I got the A cover. Is this the A cover? I got the B cover. And Jorge Corona is back. And that was a banger. It was I don't want to throw around the word banger. It was a good one. I don't want to say it was a banger because I don't want to overuse the word. It's yours. He beat you to the Starscream. Nice. So I did, for if nothing better comes along, I did get the sketch cover for Transformers number 15, and I'm itching to do a sound wave, because he's a bigger player in this series than he than I thought of him in the cartoon. So I'm pleasantly surprised because I always liked his look. He kind of looked like an evil Optimus Prime, as I remember as a kid, just because he has the mask over his face. Haven't read it yet. I won't spoil it for you, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll probably read it again because it's just so good. Like I don't buy a lot of comics anymore, and it's kind of a good thing because I do get to enjoy my comics a little bit more. I read the Absolute Batman, which I'm enjoying. I read it, the Batman #1 probably. Absolute Batman #1 probably four times, and then the Absolute Batman #2, read that probably twice. I want to read it again because I know that I said that I was a little disappointed in issue #2, and the disappointment was because I was hoping that it would just keep getting better and better, and it was only the same amount of good. I know it's not fair to say, oh, it's good, but it's not better, so I'm disappointed. But out of the gate, it was so good. I enjoyed it so much that I was hoping that it would just kind of blow my mind every time, but it was just kind of like, yeah, that's what I expected. I expected it to be this good. So, #3 comes out this week. Yeah, that's right. My son was asking because I forgot to give him Absolute Batman #2 to read, and he saw it laying around. He goes, "Do I get to read that yet?" And I said, "No." I said, "Wait a minute, I did read it." No, I said I thought that I had already given it to him, and he gave it back to me. So I said, "You didn't read it?" And he said, "No." And as soon as he read it, he goes, "When's #3 coming out?" And so I did look it up, and I did know that it's coming out. He's like, "Wow, so long." But G.I. Joe #2 is coming out this week. I looked it up before I came on. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good week. So on, what was it? Black Friday, or that Black Friday weekend, my comic book store had a sale, of course, as smart retailers should. They had a sale at the comic book store, and they had in the dollar bin, the old comics bin, this series. This was another thing that I read this week that I recommend. It's also written by Daniel Warren Johnson, and it's up to issue #3 as far as I can tell. I don't know if it's because that was how many were in the dollar bin box, overflowing with unsold fairly recent comics, and I picked those up, and I would recommend those also. It's so if you're not familiar with Daniel Warren Johnson, if his name sounds familiar, he's the guy who writes Transformers, and he draws and writes The Moon is Following Us. And I don't want to spoil it for you because I had no idea what it was going into it. I picked it up just based on his name alone and my appreciation for what he's done with the Transformers. So that is, and I was pleasantly surprised that it had the same quality writing as Transformers. So let me see. Another great Sunday show. Thank you, Crazy John. Thank you for showing up, brother. Thank you for being here. And I did, for anybody who didn't get an update, because Crazy John, you didn't get the updates for the Kickstarter, but I sent off the digital files to the printer, and although we are 3 weeks behind the schedule that I was hoping, and I had built in 2 extra weeks just in case we were going to be a little late. But you can't predict everything that's going to happen, and like one of the worst things happened. One of our guys' parent passed away, so that delayed things. I really like the Beta Ray Bill miniseries. Okay, I did not realize that. Are you talking Daniel Warren Johnson did Beta Ray Bill? He just he seems to. I mean, he's obviously an indie. His art has an indie feel, and everything about it has an indie feel. But it is it's just really well done. I don't know that I would want him on like Spider-Man or anything else that I think needs a more superhero vibe. But for things like, and I didn't initially think I was going to like him on Transformers, but I picked it up just because the reputation of the series was growing in popularity. So I decided to give it a shot, and like halfway through the book, I was like, you know what? I don't even notice that it's an indie style, and I appreciate the storytelling, and there's an obvious love for the designs of the original characters and stuff, and so I was in, you know. And so with this, The Moon is Following Us book, just has a lot of the same vibe as the Transformers. And I don't know where Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo start and stop as far as art goes, but he gives credit to. They're both creators and they're both artists, so I don't know where one starts and one stops. I'm not familiar with Riley Rossmo's artwork, so I don't know if it's just similar to Daniel Warren Johnson's, but if you can find it out there, I think it is worth a read. Now, I did black out some of the dialogue. They curse in there just a little bit in the first issue, less so in the second and third issue. And I don't think I might not have even needed to black anything out in issue 2, and maybe 1 or 2 things in issue 3. So pretty kid friendly. And as far as the violence and stuff, you know, it just was what it was. As far as, you know, it's up to your taste. Like, there was a little bit more blood than I would have. Some of the blacking out was for the violence before I gave it to my son, and that's just me being overly cautious. So depending on your level, your tolerance for violence and the blood and the guts and stuff, probably not much to censor. But yeah, that's a recommend. I'd probably give it like a 7.5, 8, probably an 8. And Riley Rossmo, I guess, worked on some Marvel stuff, and I don't see how. Like one of the X books maybe, or an Avengers book, but definitely superhero stuff. And I don't know if it would be a good fit for me. And just like how I was talking about the Sectars book, where the writing itself probably got a 7, and the art by itself would have probably got a 7, but I gave it like a 6 because it didn't match. Like the tone of each one didn't match the other, where the artwork was a little bit more look geared towards a younger audience, a more manga feel to it, and the story was like just your more of a, I don't want to say adult, but there wasn't like a silly tone to it, but some of the drawing felt silly. But yeah, so just I think the mismatch of those things can kind of hurt a book, in my opinion. If I was the editor, I would probably not have matched those two, artist and writer, together. But when it comes to indie stuff, you don't always have that choice. So let me see if I'm missing anything. The 3 Whoop Whoop, I really like Beta Rapo, yep. Daniel Warren Johnson, yep. Boom, ba boom. So I don't think I have ever drawn the Baroness before. So this would be the first time. And I don't remember drawing a lot of G.I. Joe growing up. I watched G.I. Joe. I bought the toys and stole the toys. I think I told you guys last week or the week before. I had some sticky fingers when I was a wee lad. I'm thankful that I am broken of the habit. But yeah, never drew G.I. Joe. I drew a lot of Transformers, but never G.I. Joe. I always loved G.I. Joe, the toys, more than the Transformers toys, but like the Transformers cartoon much better. So, what's going on, David? Alpha Red, I really like your art, but there's a flaw in the American style art, and it's very perfect. And it's very perfect. It has very perfect lines, but this is where the error lies, because it is not possible to create an emotional connection with those types of lines. I understand for sure. Yeah, like that I think is the beauty of something like Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo's art here, where there's an energy to the imperfection of the line. I totally agree. And that's why I think that when I hired a writer with Alpha Red number 6, and he came in and his lines were not as perfect, or I don't want to say my lines are perfect, but like it has more of an energy to it that I don't naturally have with my own inking. So that is not a bad take on my style and the need for a little bit more energy. Yeah, and I think that is the attraction to some of the newer art, like on Absolute Batman. Nick Dragotta has lots of energy in his drawing, but it is something that I don't find that I am drawn to as much, just because I grew up with Jim Lee, and he was always inked by Scott Williams. So that combo, the seemingly perfect lines that come from the 90s style superhero artwork, is kind of where my tastes are gravitating. They gravitate towards that kind of a look. Yeah, I am, for better or for worse, David, I am a perfectionist, and it does stiffen the lines. Like sometimes I like just the pencils. My pencils have more energy than my inks, and I don't necessarily know how to correct that when I go into ink. I don't feel confident to just kind of come in as maybe guns a-blazing when I come in with the inks. to maintain that energy. But yeah, you get it. And I have to go back in and intentionally add it's not until I come back in and add the little energy, like this is too small of a thing, I don't even know what to call these things. This is a number 1, that's way too small. But if I go a little bit bigger, you can see like the extra lines to add texture, like battle scars or whatever, to this kind of stuff, like that. Just adds a little bit more energy. But yeah, my lines are a little bit on the perfect side. I don't want to say perfect in a way that is complete or whatever, but yeah, just smoother. And that's just how I've always been. And actually, I started using an ink brush, an ink brush pen, and that gave it a little bit of energy, but I don't know, I just don't prefer it. Like, I don't prefer as I'm working with it. So I've kind of given up on it, and it was inconsistent. The nibs, because maybe I'm buying the cheap ones, they would kind of like go out on me. I don't know. They were inconsistent. Like they would, like, instead of, they'd have like a railroad. I don't know if, like, there would be like a line in the middle. I don't know. Maybe the tip of the brush was broken, and so you would lose the energy that you would normally get from that using a brush or a brush pen. And so I just stick with these mechanical draftsman type inking tools. But yeah, it comes down to a little bit of preference. You know, I do like the look of Jim Lee and Scott Williams, them doing just their thing, and it looks kind of polished, and it's kind of like who was popular when you first found comics. I think maybe that has a little bit to do with the taste that I have in style, art styles, and who I am influenced by. Not that I'm not influenced by guys like Daniel Warren Johnson. I do like, and Nick Dragotta. I think he pronounces it Dragotta, not Dragotta, even though I hear a lot of people saying Dragotta. I think Scott Snyder calls him Dragotta. So, and I think they're neighbors. So you would think that he would know how to pronounce it. Because the only people I know who call him Nick Dragotta are the guys who have been reviewing Absolute Batman. What am I? Number 2. I'm number 2. Let me see. What's going on, Pong? Let me see here. David says, raw lines are the best. Yep. Pencil lines are the best raw. I prefer the Scarlet and Snake Eyes relationship in the comics over Scarlet and Duke in the cartoon. Okay. I didn't really know that Scarlet and Snake Eyes had a relationship anywhere. I knew that they were, like, I don't know, they fought alongside each other, but I didn't know that there was a romance thing there. But yeah, I have found out, and I don't know that I knew that Duke and Scarlet had a relationship. You know, my memories, you know, I'll be turning 50 next month, so the memory isn't what it used to be. David says, in terms of perfection, I like it a lot too. I like all types of art, from the most perfect to the ugliest. Yeah, well, I try to stay away from the ugly. I don't know if there's anybody that I can think of where they people really like them, and I think the art is ugly. I remember everybody was into the Max. Remember Sam Keith and the Max? And I liked anything Image, so I had all the Max books. But I didn't necessarily like the artwork as much. So that I don't know if I can say that I like ugly art. What's KKKK? What's KKKK? Why? I don't. Did I miss something, or did I say something? Did I miss something, David? But I can't think of any. Yeah, like I said, I can't think of anybody whose artwork that I think is ugly that I continue to pick up their stuff. I mean, the artwork in comics are pretty important to me. So if the book does not have good art, I don't tend to pick it up for very long. You know, unless the story is really, really good. It's really got me hooked, and it fits the story. It doesn't necessarily have to be really good art, I guess. If the art fits the story. Means LOL in Portuguese. Okay, I didn't realize you were. That's right. You're in Portugal. Fong says, I'm turning 50 this upcoming March. I'll be joining you in the 50 years old man club. Yep. Berserk manga is ugly and beautiful at the same time. Okay. So I think manga has a lot of varying types of artwork, whereas superhero art, I feel like should stay in a certain lane. I feel like. I think my number 2 here is dying. We'll just move up then. We'll move up to number 3. I think number 3 is dying too. I think I have some brand new ones across the room, but I did not check my supplies here before I started. Yeah, so I really have to explore some manga because you know, it sounds like it's the next up and coming thing, and I don't want to miss the boat on anything. And I don't want to be drawing in a style that nobody's going to look at anymore. I'm in the process of reformatting Alpha Red to at least be the same size as manga. I'm trying to figure out like what makes a manga, and it seems like it's the size is one component, and then a lot of it's just black and white. Maybe David, you can set me straight on some manga characteristics. But other than that, I'd love to have it like kind of converted. I'd love Alpha Red to be converted into a manga. I don't want to miss the boat if people would enjoy the story, if the format were a little different or told in a slightly different way. Because the idea is to get the story out there. That's the goal anyway. Always the goal. So I'm open to exploring other ways to share the Alpha Red story. Start on Berserk. Okay. Okay. What makes a good manga isn't the size, it's the strangeness of the story. Okay, the strangeness of the story. Okay. So it's the idea and the execution of the idea. Is that what I'm hearing? Because I've always been an artist first, and I'm really finding the love for creating the story. I'm having just as much fun creating the story and working out some of those details. And strangeness, huh? Okay. I do have not this year, because I have the next 2 stories kind of written, and I don't believe they're strange. I think they're just your standard superhero fare. You know, there's a challenge that only the hero can solve, villain, that kind of thing. Just your normal superhero story arc. He saves people from whatever threat in a way that only he can. But then I start in on the 10-year plan for Alpha Red, and that 10-year plan gets pretty strange. And I want to start actually incorporating a lot of the ideas that I had growing up. So if you were on the art auction for last month, not this past December, but the previous month, where I sold pages of a story called Jonas. And it's a fantasy. It's more of a fantasy book. It was kind of my version of Battle Chasers way back when, and I have found a way to incorporate that into my my future story. So I believe Brian bought those pages, and I might actually revisit that story, finish up that story, use all those actual pages from way back when, and be able to incorporate those characters, that storyline, that world. I don't want to give too much of it away, because it is going to get strange. But there's lots of strange things in the world, especially when you're talking about spiritual stuff and spiritual warfare, angels and demons and all that stuff. And it's hard to talk about faith and God and spirituality without acknowledging some of those things exist. And once you acknowledge that some of those things exist, it's hard to have stories where they don't exist or are not a part of a storyline or the motivation for some of the characters. So that's kind of where that's going. And will it be a dream world? Will it be another dimension? We'll see. Hopefully I can tie it all together. There's some loose ideas out there. I got to tie them down, and then I got to connect them to the bigger story, and in a way that makes sense. Like, I don't want to just randomly do it, but the way that I'm setting up the next decade of Alpha Red definitely leaves room for some stranger things. If you can touch people's emotions. Yep. That's what I like about Daniel Warren Johnson's writing, is that he's good at setting up the emotional stuff and then making you care about the characters and what happens to them. And if he can surprise you with some of the strangeness. I don't know, David, are you reading this book here? The Moon is Following Us from Image. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I must say. I didn't know, I mean, I would have not naturally picked it up, but I listened to Thinking Critical, and he mentioned it a couple of times that it was pretty good, and it just happened to be in the dollar bin, and it was Daniel Warren Johnson. I was like, you know what, for $1, I can give it a try, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's pretty good, and if strange is what makes manga good, it has some strangeness in it, and it explains why. It explains the world. Once they explain the world that they kind of operate in, there's like, this is gonna be fun. So let me get to her hair here, because let's see, make that work. Make it seem seamless up here, because I did use some white out to get some of that going, and I do want to make it seem like it just naturally goes in there. I don't know. I'm not looking up, so I don't know if it's going off camera here. So but yeah. So what else are you guys reading? Anything you're excited about? G.I. Joe #2 comes out this week. Absolute Batman #2 comes out this week. Three, sorry. Absolute Batman #3 comes out. What else? What else are you guys reading? So as I was saying earlier, I don't pick up a whole lot of comics anymore, so I get to read these comics over and over again. I get to enjoy them like I did back when I was younger and I didn't have a lot of money and I had a lot of time but not a lot of money, and I would just sit there and read the same comics over and over and over. So it's kind of fun because you pick up new things. Not every time, but like you learn to appreciate the artwork a little bit more, the storytelling. In Europe, we read mostly manga. Okay. I wonder how manga became so ubiquitous. It's like everywhere. It's like everyone talks about it. So, do you have more comic book shops, or are comics sold in more comic book? Where are comic books sold? Where are manga sold in Portugal? David? Curious if we can replicate that in America. And I don't know how they would do it, because I used to buy comics everywhere when I was a kid, and now you can only seem to get them at comic book stores. Quality and consistency from Japan. Yeah. I think quantity too from Japan. I think because they have it's not looked down upon like it is in America. Like it's still thought of as a kid's form of entertainment here. Probably because we insist on superheroes. Myself, I'm guilty myself, because I do like the superhero stuff, but I don't read outside of comic books anyway. You know, I read books for my Bible studies and stuff, but outside of like the Bible and comic books, I don't read. I'll listen to podcasts, I'll listen to books, but I don't get much fiction elsewhere. much fiction elsewhere. What's going on, Poke Rocker? How you doing out there? Thanks for stopping in, man. Thanks for stopping in. What is Lisboa? Lisboa. Lisboa. Is that a store chain? Is that a store chain in Portugal? Not that I can solve the comic book industry's problems on here, but I like to think that, you know, we can think it through and talk to our local comic stores, and whenever we can bend the ear of a Marvel or DC, that they would, oops, I think the bullets go down the other way. I was talking too much. The bullets go down so they don't slip out. What was I thinking? I'm holding my breath, guys. If I'm silent, don't mind me. City is Lisboa. Okay. Ron says, reading Batman Resurrection right now. Nice. A novel set right after Batman 89. I heard something about that. Was that written a long time ago? Was that written sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, or is that like something brand new that they just kind of a sequel to Batman 89 franchise? Funk says, I've been reading a lot of old book collections. I'm currently reading the Justice League International Omnibus, Volume 1. Oh, wow. It was one of my favorite comics in the late 80s and 90s. Oh, wow. It's new, huh? So they're finally tapping into some nostalgia, giving us some stuff that we like. I mean, I'm hearing them talk about like Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, doing sequels of that. If they were smart, that's what they'd be doing, because they can have that. They can have the Amazing Spider-Man with Garfield. I forget what his first name is, but you know, because we still wanted that stuff. You know, yeah, it wasn't the best, but I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was serviceable. Just give us more. We always complain about stuff. It could always be done better. It could always be done closer to the original source material. But we'll still go watch it, as long as you don't make it stupid. As long as you don't change it, we'll go watch it. And I guess if you won't make it, if Michael Keaton's too old, then we'll just read novels about it. Just make it. Right? I've been watching a lot of Bluey with my kid. Lucky you. Lucky you. That's so funny. I'm only just discovering that Bluey is a thing. I didn't even know that Bluey existed. So my youngest is almost 17. So Bluey is newy. Back when my kids were young, they had like Barney the dinosaur was big, the Teletubbies, and we definitely did not have streaming. So it's you catch it when you catch it. And then when we first started having streaming, we would the kids really got into Wildcrats. So Wildcrats was on PBS, but I think on Netflix or one of the streaming things, they had all the PBS stuff, and that's when my kids just watched the heck out of Wildcrats. So I do not envy. Maybe Bluey is awesome. Is Bluey awesome? Should I be drawing Bluey? Would that get the crowds into the Sunday night draw stream? Maybe I'm missing out on Bluey. Good old TV broadcasting. They call it legacy media now, I believe. Legacy. It's what old people watch. What old people watch. I don't even have a TV set up in my house. I don't know if you guys are. You've cut the cord. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube and stuff on my phone, and I'll have it on my computer as I'm doing some work. You know, if I peek in at something or I'm taking a break, I'll jump on and watch an episode of something or other. If I hear people talking about something, then I'll stream it. For sure, we do not pull out the TV unless it's a whole family thing, an event. Bluey. Thank goodness that I went to work and my wife had to watch most of those things. No, we didn't. I don't think we were ever a big TV family. We obviously had a TV for many, many years. And we were like everybody else, but you know, I think 2020 broke a lot of people, broke a lot of habits. I think we had a TV in the living room, then we stopped really watching it. Not everything was appropriate for the kids anyway, so we would watch it on the iPad, and it went to our phones, and then the TV just sat there. We watch it once a week, once every other week, for an hour or two. So my wife was like, "Why do we have this giant thing in here?" So we put it away. And we pull it out for when my daughter comes home. Actually, we're going through the Back to the Future trilogy, me and my sons, and we had it out for that, and we'll probably have it out. Gosh, the weekend's over already. Maybe we won't have it out. I was like, we'll have it out sometime this weekend, but the weekend is over. The weekend is over, my friends. That's why we're here. This is the weekend. The Weekender is my draw stream, just to ease you guys back into the week. Ease you back in. BRB dogs. Can't say that I know what BRB dogs are. BRB dogs. Is that the... I'm not thinking, I'm thinking like Pound Patrol is what I was thinking. But BRB dogs must be something different. Don't even know that. That's how out of it I am. I don't have much time to consume as much entertainment as I would like, to be sure. Working on Working on Alpha Red doesn't leave me with much. And then, you know, I do this kind of stuff to kind of keep people, to give me an opportunity to talk about Alpha Red, you know, and what's going on with Alpha Red. Alpha Red, if you don't know, is my independent comic book that I created back in 2012. Published in 2013. It's up to issue number 6. And issue number 6 is off to the printers. It will be back to me, they tell me, on the 27th of this month. And I was hoping that it was going to be back to me much, much earlier. unfortunately, we ran into some problems, some delays, and we're 3 weeks behind. I was hoping to have it to the backers by Christmas, but unfortunately, it would take a Christmas miracle at this point to for that to happen, and I do not expect it to. They said that it is in their workflow to be printed on the 20th, so in 5 days. So on, what's that, Friday? Wednesday? No, Thursday, Friday is when it will go to print, and then by the time it gets shipped to me, it'll be the 27th, is the ETA. So I am a little disappointed for sure that we will not hit the estimated delivery date that I was shooting for. But I appreciate most people are very understanding when it comes to independent comic creation. And so this channel is partly to be able to talk about Alpha Red and answer any questions about Alpha Red. I don't know if you guys saw the link in the description for the t-shirt store. If you're interested in getting an Alpha Red t-shirt, you can do that now on the Teespring store. And I only put that up because people asked if where they can get t-shirts, and I ordered a few for myself just because I wanted to have some Alpha Red t-shirts. But now you can get your own. And I don't think I make very much money. I think it's like $3 a shirt that I make. So whatever you're paying, whatever you would pay for a shirt or a hoodie or a long sleeve t-shirt, I think I set it as low as I could. I don't know if I can set it to like 0. It's not a very intuitive site, the Teespring site. So we got about 6 minutes. I can't do math, guys. I was looking at the time. I was like, oh, that's 6 minutes. I can't do math. So stereotypes are not always correct. I'm supposed to be very good at math. I'm supposed to be genetically disposed to math in my head very quickly. Some people got it. Not this guy. Not this guy. So anything you guys want to talk about? What about Christmas? Do you guys still give a list to your loved ones for Christmas? Rod, I know, bro. Your mom gets you stuff. If she's still giving you birthday money, you're giving her a list for sure. I do give a list to my in-laws. My mom doesn't give me anything. We grew up very poor, and my mom is very old, and she lives with my brother, and we just buy her stuff, and then she gives the gifts that we give her away to other people. It's just not her way. But yeah, I just sent my list off to my kids. When your kids get older and they start making money, and if you've been generous with them, giving things to them, they want to give things back. And I don't know what to ask them to get me, but I did come up with things, just comic books. I sold my comics as I moved from Pennsylvania to New York, and now that I'm settled in here and I don't have to move like boxes and boxes of them, I'm slowly getting some of those old comics back. And so I asked for some comics, and they just roll their eyes because they're like, "Don't you have enough comics?" I'm like, "What? The spinner rack back here, it's not even full. Come on, let's go, fill that thing." Actually, I've got boxes across the room. Let me see. Anyway, nope, no list. Rod, brother man. I'm just joking. Hopefully you don't. I'm just teasing. Just teasing. No judgment. I think it's fun that you're. Actually, my in-laws give me a. They send me a check for my birthday. They send me $75. I only get what the. We call ourselves the Outlaws. The Outlaws and the grandkids get $75, and they have 4 kids, 4 grown adult kids that they will still give $100 to. And my wife is a stay-at-home mom, but their 3 other kids are boys, and they are not stay-at-home guys, and they make okay money, and they still get $100 from mom and dad for their birthdays. So I think that's funny. It was not the culture of my family growing up, so I appreciate it for sure, but it's not something that I am used to. So I just think it's funny. All right, guys, we're winding down. I really, really, really appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Sunday night, and I hope that you guys have a great, fantastic week. I should be back next week to do a draw stream, but you never know, because my wife surprises me with, "Hey, we're going here. Hey, we're going there." She's pretty conscientious of my Sunday night draw stream, but if there's a family gathering, that might be more important than Sunday night draw stream. But as of now, we should be doing one next week, and I'll be posting some of these new. I've been trying out sketch cards, guys. So I'm not super happy with how some of these things came in. They're super slick. They're super hard to draw on. But I did get some of these where they're just blank white, and I do like the color of this. And I like having the color and then drawing on top of the color, but I can't hardly draw anything on here. And so it's really tough. So what I did, and I tried this, and it still wasn't working out. So what I did was I just took a marker, and then I just made my own color. And they've been turning out pretty good. This one is on Etsy. It's available on Etsy. I have not put these other ones on Etsy yet, but I will maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Just trying them out. And so hopefully you'll see more of those on there. Maybe I'll take requests, and they'll all be for $25. So if you guys are interested in those, they'll be up there for $25. Let me see. What do you got? Enough comics? I don't understand. Right? They just don't understand. They don't get it. But let me finish up reading, and then we'll hit the outro. I appreciate it. I saw the Superman card. I said, "Oh, come on." Original X says, "Very cool. I love the sketch cards." Thank you, Original X. Thanks for jumping on, guys. I really appreciate you spending a Sunday evening with me. We'll do it again next week. Until then, grace and peace. We're out.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor. a fire in his soul, Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, you'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red. Alpha Red.